everyone. It's so great to be together and to be with this wonderful group of people again for our second Simcha in as many years for the Daitch family. I know there are probably the greater Daitch family. There are other Simchas, Smachot for your family as well, but I believe it is somewhat very Jewish. Even in a pandemic, we do Simchas, and not only because we need them, but because they are part of who we are. Those of you who are joining us at home, whether you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, number one, feel free to leave comments of Mazel Tov to the family so they can read them later on. I'm sure they will love to read what you have to say. Number two, there's in the YouTube feed a link in the comment section which will take you to Mishkan Tefillah. That is our prayer book, and it's sort of in that flip page format, so you can just, it's like you're here. It's a virtual Siddur. We'll give you two sets of page numbers depending on the version that it links you to. So if I say page 192 and 74, it's either one of those two. And most of all, whether you're home or you're here, this is not a performance. Our bat mitzvah is here simply to facilitate our Shabbat service. So please sing, clap, and sing some more. And join with us in all of the prayers and all the readings. And finally, because of our lovely protocols, requirements for COVID, we would ask you to keep your masks on throughout the service from the top of your nose down to underneath your mouth. That way, even though I know everyone here has been vaccinated, we're still trying to both set an example for everyone who's watching, that at least for a couple more months, we want to be extra Jewish, which means extra neurotic. I'm not speaking for all of us. Kind of I am. But anyway, Cantor and I are so happy to have Jackie with us on the Bima, our musical director, and the one, the only, Dina Mandelbaum, the mentor of our bat mitzvah. So we're going to begin our service on 192, or page 74. I would point out that our bat mitzvah blessed her talit and put it on behind the scenes, and that her gorgeous talit is lovingly gifted to her by the artist as well, which is her aunt, who made her talit as she did for her brother as well a couple of years ago. So again, 192 or 74.
Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani berov chastecha, ahavo veitecha, eshtacha velecha lekodshecha, vehiratecha. Let's join together. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Let's continue on page 198 or page 80 in your Siddurim with Birkot Nisim B'chol Yom, blessings for the miracles we experience every morning.
Let me turn you on here.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan nasech vivina lechavhin ben yom uvein laila, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrin, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam roka ha'aretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim et zadei gaver, who strengthens our steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim, who clothes the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten laya'ef koach, who gives strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ma'avir shena me'enai u'tenuma me'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shesani b'tselem Elohim, who made me in the image of God. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani bat horin, who has made me free. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael, who has made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura, who girds Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael betif ara, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Continue now with Chetzi Kaddish in our Siddurim, page 224 or 106.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ועלמד יברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי. וחי יכון ויומכון וחי לכל בית ישראל. בגדלה ובזמן קריב וימרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מברך. לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה. בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן פעלמה וימרו.
Amen. Continue now with the call to worship, Baruch 236 or 108, 226. Please stand.
Yai lai, ya lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai ya lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, lai 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 lai. Barechu et Adonai, hamevorach, hamevorach. Baruch Adonai, hamevorach. Leolam, leolam va'ed. Praise Adonai, to whom our praises our praises due. Let's all try that. Praise Adonai, to whom our praises due, now and forever. Ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya.
Gorgeous morning, let's give thanks to God for the or, the light that is in the sky so brightly shining on our bat mitzvah and on this beautiful Shabbat, 228, 110.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
melech haolam yotzei Shalom uvorei et hakol. Hameir la'aretz v'la'arim aleha barachamim uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chochma asita mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha va'al me'orei or she'asita Yafa arucha selah.
Or chadash al Zion ta'ir v'nizkechu lanu meheira le'oro.
Baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'meorot. And please turn to the next page, 230, 112. Our bat mitzvah will lead us in a responsive reading, which means we all join in on the indented section at the bottom.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion. On account of our forebears who trust-led you to teach them the laws of life, be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us, by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch atah Adonai, abocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך. ושיננתן לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך Ukshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beineinecha. Uktaftam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tiskeru, ve'atzitem et kol mitzvotai, vehitem kedoshim le'elohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem, asher hotzeti etchem meretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohehem, Adonai Elohehem.
Amen.
We continue now again responsively on page 239 in the middle of the page.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Continue with Micha Mocha, the song of our freedom, 240 or 122.
And don't be afraid to clap your hands. This is a joyous song.
Don't fear clapping. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la
la la la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha, who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh, lo ratehi lo tosefele, lo ratehi lo tosefele. We sing a new song, Shira Chadasha, Shira Chadasha, Shimechu Geulim, Lesimcha Lesefat Hayam, Yachad Kulam Hodu Vehimlichu, Hodu Vehimlichu Ve'amru, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Le'olam Va'ed, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Va'ed. Tzur Yisrael Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael, ufedeichnu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael. Go'aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
We're now at the central part of our morning Shabbat service with the Amidah and the Tefillah. Please turn to page 242 or 124, and together please stand.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufia gitehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר השדה אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מחכה חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים תומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לך חיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We continue with the Kedushah on page 248. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכך זה לזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמין ברחמיו לעיני כל החי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, בשבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. This last week, we first commemorated Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Memorial Day, and then on Thursday celebrated Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. And so this Shabbat, as we reflect on this past week, we read, I at least will share the words to one of my favorite modern Israeli songs that represent in so many ways what the modern state of Israel, its land, its people, represents for all of us. And hopefully this will give you a little inspiration, as Naomi Shemer typically does, before you enter into silent prayers of your own. And we draw our attention from here to Israel. This is from Naomi Shemer's Al Kol Eleh. My God, keep these things safe, the honey and sting, the bitter and the sweet, and our baby daughter, the burning flame, the pure water, and the man returning home from afar. Keep all of these safe, my good God, the honey and the sting, the bitter and the sweet. Do not uproot what has been planted. Do not forget the hope. Return me, and I will return to that good land. A tree rustles in the wind. A star cascades in the distance. And now my heart's desires are recorded in that darkness. Please keep all of these things safe for me. Keep safe the ones I love, the quiet the crying, and indeed this very song, Al Kol Ele. Please take these moments now to meditate on the week that has passed, and perhaps give just a moment of your prayers to the state of Israel, the land of Israel, and its people as we celebrate this Bat Mitzvah, who represents our future as the people Israel.
על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על ביתנו התינוקת, שמו אלי הטוב. We're on page 651 for those of you who would like to sing along. על האש המבוערת, על המים הזכים, על האיש השב הביתה מן המרחקים, על כל אלה, על כל אלה, שמעון לי אלי הטוב, על הדבש ועל העוקץ, על המר והמתוק, על נטע הקור נטוע, אל תשכח את התקווה, השיבני והשובה אל הארץ הטובה.
I knew you were going to do that. I know when Jackie goes to get the sheet music, we improvise. Just how it works. Thank you for singing that. It is such a great, great, great piece. And I know you've been to Israel probably more recently, Samantha, than any of us, quite frankly. So there's that tie-in as well. We are going to now continue with the most important part, if there is such a thing, of our Bat Mitzvah service, of our Shabbat morning, which is reading from the Sefer Torah. For those of you who are watching at home who may not have been to a bar Bat Mitzvah before, the Torah is our most sacred ritual object in Judaism. It is the scroll which is found inside of our Holy Ark, and it contains the 5 books of Moses: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Each week, we read one of the 54 portions that the Torah has been broken into, except for with some special Shabbats and some exceptions like today, when we actually have 2 Torah portions, Tazria and Metzorah. We saved the double headers for the most special kids. So it just sort of worked out that way, right? We're thankfully for you at home, we're not going to be reading both Parshiot, so that's good. And I'll give you some page numbers a little later on, chapters and verses, so you can follow along. It is our custom typically to have many honors, passing the Torah from generation to generation, opening the Ark doors, closing the Ark doors, but during the pandemic, we have, again, decided to go a little bit above and beyond in our recommendations so that we limit the amount of people who are touching each other, touching the Torah. We'll be acknowledging all of you are part of that here, and I'll say a few words about the generations in a moment. But let's all take this time now to turn to page 362 or 244 in our Sidurim for Seder Kriyat Torah, for the service reading of Torah.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai himoch leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et hamo v'shalom.
Please stand.
Avarachamim eiti v'avir sonecha et Zion, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'cha levad batachnu, melech el ram v'nisa, Adon olami.
Top of 364.
Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato.
The Torah is the precious heritage of the children of Israel. It is the story of our lives, of our souls and our hearts, the yearnings of our ancestors many generations ago that are manifest today in your becoming a bat mitzvah. And most of all, it represents our hope and faith in you as the future. The Torah was handed from generations, grandparents to parents to children, now for 4,000 years. This story is yours. And on this day of your bat mitzvah, as you enter into Jewish adulthood, as you become part of the people of Israel, we think of all the generations past, and Lador, Vador, Vador, from your grandparents to your parents to you, we are going to hand this tradition to make of it what you will, which we know will be a very great thing.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממה שמו יחתיו.
Please feel free to blow kisses to the Torah.
לך אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה והמנהסה לכל לראש. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד.
Please be seated. So we will give you a couple of pieces of advice. This is one of the PG-13 Torah portions. Mostly because if you're a dermatologist, you'll get very excited. Tazria and Metzora are about skin disease and the correlation between different types of eruptions that you may have on your skin that other people can see and the idea of Lashon Hara. In fact, Metzora, the second parsha of the double portion, is said to be 3 words, or represents 3 words. Motzi Shem Ra, the one who brings forth, the person who brings forth bad words. In other words, a gossip. And there are different types of Tazria and Metzora. In fact, the Yiddish word tsuris is found in the word Metzora, like tsuris. You've got tsuris, a pain. But it's also about what would happen when someone was identified. Actually, very apropos our times these days, about you have 602,000 Jews in the desert, and if someone gets a disease, of course, they're fearful that it's going to get contracted by many and it's going to spread. So there was an entire quarantine process set up, believe it or not, before the CDC ever existed. In the Torah, you would take the person outside of the camp who maybe had a rash or scaly skin. A lot of people translate sara'at as leprosy per se, but it's not just leprosy. It's all kinds of infections and bacterial. I won't get too much in more detail. But nonetheless, it's about how the Jewish community dealt with people who were sick and took care of them or gave them the ability to get better outside of the community, because you don't want to be seen by a lot of people, especially if you've got, for those of us who were teenagers once upon a time, especially if you've got stuff on your face. So putting them aside and then having the priest, who also acted sort of as the medicine man, if you will, go and check the person to make sure that whatever it is that they had contracted was all cleared up before letting them back in. This also applied to tsa'arat, different types of contaminants, if you will, that could be in a house behind a wall. For those of us who grew up in places like San Francisco, that could be mold or mildew. Here, that could be termites. And so there was a whole cleaning process that one would go through by advice of the priest, on counsel of the priest, for a tsarat, or tzoros, as I like to say, that could be in your house, stuff that people couldn't see that was hidden behind the walls. So anyway, that may not sound like really exciting stuff, but I love these parshiot, and I really love the Devar Torah that our bat mitzvah will deliver later on. She really nailed it in taking some really hard, complex material. She said she had to talk to her dad about it and get some input. I'm sure her mom helped out as well, but she really did a beautiful job with some very challenging material for a kid. So I'm really proud of her for that. Anyway, we're going to have several aliyot, people who will be called to the Torah to bless it. They will be standing on this side, unless, of course, you happen to live in the same house, is our bat mitzvah, and sort of in honor of the Tazria and Mitzora policy for keeping people separate. You're all healthy, you all look great. We're gonna have you, when you get called, stand up here for your aliyot, and then, of course, your parents will be able to stand right there with you, and so on and so forth. All right, Cantor, are we good? Oh, Paige. If you have a Plow commentary at home, you're welcome to turn to 735. If you just have a regular Bible at home, you are welcome to join us to follow the reading, which will begin in the book of Leviticus, chapter 12, verse 1. So chapter 12, verse 1, and in this book, 735. That's the prayer book, I believe. This is what the Torah looks like. We don't have any out right now. This is more for the benefit of the people at home.
But there should be in your programs. It should be all typed out.
There you go.
Okay?
All right,
Something I want to
Cantor.
point out, though, Rabbi, before we go ahead and call all of you up, is that Samantha went lifnei meshurat hadin, went above and beyond what was expected towards her, of her.
Really?
And she went to Pardes. I know, I'm so surprised, right? Wrote out all of your Hebrew names in Hebrew letters. So that is huge, and I wanted to go ahead and mention that because I think you are definitely the first to have done that. So to all of you upcoming ones, set the bar pretty high. All right, here is our first aliyah. We call up proud uncles and aunts, Larry Dell, Susie Dell, Larry Daitch, and MJ Daitch. Yamdu Rishon Yamod Aryeh ben Leah Veishaya Tamod Ahuvat Sarah bat Tzvi Yosef Ufega Yamod Ruven ben Tzvi Yosef Ufega Rachel Tamod Miriam Chana bat Ruven Veyona. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe lemor. Daber el Bnei Israel lemor. Isha ki tazria veyaleda zachar v'tamea shivat yamim kimei nidat dota titema uvayom hashmini yimol besar orlato.
Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan v'tovenu. Baruch Atah Adonai, Noten HaTorah.
Amen. So we'll invite our first aliyah to come over here and give Samantha some elbow rubs over here and some air kisses. And while they are being seated, we are proud to call up for our second aliyah, proud grandparents. We're going to call up Joel Arthur, Candy Arthur, Harold Daitch, and Cindy Daitch. Yamdu Sheni Yamod Yoel Ben Sugal VeYitzchak Tamod Siro Bat Ruchel Moshe Yamod Tzvi Yosef Ben Shena Gitol Vinyamin Tamod Fega Bat Golda Yisrael Yamdu Sheni.
Yes.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'charvanu mikol ha'amim v'natananu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ushloshim yom, ushloshet yamim, teshev bidmei Torah, bechol kodesh lo tiga, ve'el hamikdash lo tavo, ad melot yemei Torah. Ve'im nekeva telet, ve'tamea shevuayim, kenirata, ve'shishim yom, ve'sheshet yamim, teshev al demei Torah. Uvim lot yemei Torah, levein o levat tavi, keves ben shinato le'ola, uvein yona otor lechatat, el petach ochel moed, el hakohen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natananu Torah emet v'chayei olam notav b'tachenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And while our second aliyah is giving Samantha some elbow rubs, we call up for our third aliyah, proud parents and proud brother. We call up Jim Daitch, Mandy Daitch, and Zachary Daitch to stand with Samantha at the Amud. Yamdu Shelishi Yamod David Yaakov Ben Tzvi Yosef Ufega Rachel Tamod Fega Bat Yoel Vesirol Yamod Yonat Loe Ben David Yaakov Ufega.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vehi kriva lifnei Adonai vechiper aleha vetahara mimekor dameha zot Torah hayoledet lazachar lanekeva ve'im lo timsa yada desei velakecha shete torim o shenei bnei Yona echad le'ola ve'echad lechatat vechiper aleha hakohen v'tahera.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natav b'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We could take a moment now to ask for God's blessings upon all of our friends and family, loved ones who are in need of our prayers for healing on this Shabbat, wishing for all of them a complete healing. In a moment, if you'd like to now, actually, in the description on YouTube or in a moment here, I'll ask you to say out loud the name of a loved one if you wish. Mishabarach Avatenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Matenu Sarah v'Karach v'Leah v'Yivarech v'Yirapeh et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and bring healing to those who are ill. If anyone would like to say a name, please do so. And again, please feel free to type a name in online. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send all of them a complete renewal of body and of spirit. Together, let's say Amen.
And now for the main event. Coming up for our fourth Aliyah, being called to the Torah for the first time as a bat mitzvah, Samantha Nicole Daitch. Tamod, Habachura habat mitzvah sheina Rivka bat David Yaakov ulfega chazak v'nidchazek.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon lemor. Adam ki yehi ve'or besaro sehet osapachat o vaheret ve'haya ve'or besaro lenega sarat ve'huva el Aharon hakohen o el echad mibanav hakohanim. Vera'a hakohen et hanega be'or habasar ve'se'ar banega hafach lavan umor'ei hanega amok ume'or besaro nega sarat hu vera'ahu hakohen v'time'oto.
Take your seat. That was exquisite. Go ahead. Yeah, touch first. You did it. Good job. Go ahead.
Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'hayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch Ata Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Yasher Koach.
Wow, that's how that's done.
Yes.
Please stand so that we can lift and redress the Torah.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe, Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. So as you may be seated, so as Rabbi Kahn said and explained to us, at certain times of the year, Torah portions are combined, and so this week is Tazria and Mitzorah, and so Samantha learned the Torah portion for Tazria, but she learned the Haftarah portion for Mitzorah, and the reason why they are connected is that the Haftarah portion talks about these 4 lepers that are at the gate of this town and how they are treated by the community and what they ask the prophet to do. So we will join together with Samantha, or we'll hear her chant her Haftarah Blessings beginning on page 372.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza b'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Ve'arba anashim hayu metzoraim petach hashar vayomeru isharehu ma anachnu yoshvim po admatenu im amarnu navo ha'ir ve'hara'av ba'ir v'amatnu sham ve'im yashavnu fo v'amatnu ve'atah lehu v'nipela el machanei aram im yechayunu nichyeh ve'im yimitunu v'amatnu vayakumu v'neshef lavo el machanei Avram vayavohu ad ketzei machanei Aram ve'hinei ein sham ish v'Adonai hishmiya et machanei Aram kol rechev kol sus kol chayil gadol vayomeru ish el achiv hinei zachar aleinu melech Yisrael et malchei hachitim ve'et malchei Mitzrayim lavo aleinu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol haolamim tzadik bechol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. Yasher Koach. Can we all say Yasher Koach? Yasher Koach. I just want to take 2 seconds, and I promise it will be 2 seconds. The way you chanted, and I know I can speak for Rabbi Kahn and myself, who both grew up in the conservative movement, as well as I know your parents grew up in the conservative movement as well. When you chant what you just chanted with the klexes and you're singing from the heart, you sound like a chazan. It instantaneously transported us back to our childhoods. And my eyes are watering because I can remember being so little and hearing the people who chanted. That's the way it was supposed to be done. Thank you. I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you. Oh, so not only did Samantha prepare a Torah portion and a Haftarah portion, which, and I will attest, she chanted flawlessly for both. She also prepared a wonderful teaching, her Devar Torah, based on what she learned from this week's Torah portion, which she will share with you now.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We all know that we should study the Torah, but have you ever really thought about what the Torah can teach you? This week's Torah portion is a double Torah portion, Tazria and Metzorah. However, I'm focusing on Tazria. Tazria is in the book of Leviticus and refers to a woman who gives birth to a child. Therefore, at the beginning of the portion, we learn about certain laws regarding the impurity and purity of giving birth. Generally, in sort of an old biblical way, the act of giving birth was compared to a tzara'at. A tzara'at is a skin disease, like a rash or leprosy, that was thought to be unclean. For example, according to the Torah, if you had an undetermined mark or spot on your skin, you would go to the priests and they would give you a diagnosis. If you were diagnosed with a tzara'at, you were considered impure because nobody had an explanation for the infection you had. Like the Torah states, knowing little about the cause or treatment of such infections, they concluded that they must be the result of God's displeasure. So, it was said that they were cursed by God and they could spread the curse to whomever they touch. As a result, those impure had to quarantine prior to becoming pure again. Childbirth isn't a tzara'at, but after giving birth, you are pondered to be impure. The Torah portion explains that the gender of the baby determines how long you will be impure for. If she bears a male, she shall be impure 7 days and quarantine for 33 days. But if she bears a female, she shall be impure for 2 weeks and quarantine for 66 days. In order to become pure after giving birth, you had to bring a lamb and a pigeon to the priest. The priest would then make an offering and give the mother redemption for her impurity. She shall then be pure from her flow of blood. In today's world, we no longer rely on priests to diagnose us, and if someone's sick, they aren't considered cursed. We also do not believe that a woman is any way unclean upon giving birth to a child. But it is still the case that if you're ill or impure, especially if the disease you have is easily transmitted to others, you must quarantine to minimize spread. I think that this Torah portion was a super cool portion because it's so relevant to what we are dealing with on a daily basis with COVID, even though these stories took place thousands of years ago. In other words, the power of Torah was prominent in this portion. And that, to me, is what the gift of Torah is all about. Maybe if everyone read and studied the Torah regularly, we could be more prepared for all of life's changes. The solution is already written. So, I really think Tazria taught me that reading and studying Torah is a hugely important value to remember, as it can teach us many things that help us in the future. Now, I want to thank everyone who has made this day possible. Mom, there's definitely not enough time for me to list everything you've done for me. The amount of time and effort you sacrificed to make this day the best is incredible. I really appreciate it. You are my biggest and loudest cheerleader, and I'm so lucky to have you. Thanks for everything you've done for my benefit. Dad, every night I enjoy hearing all the funny things you can come up with to say just to make me smile on a bad day. You're always there helping me with homework, providing extra support, or giving me any tips or tricks to help me. Thank you for believing in me and standing by my side. Zachary, although we fight, we have a special bond that is unbreakable. You always have my back and stand up for me no matter what. Thank you. Mimi and Poppy, thank you for always encouraging me to do my best and always being present for help and support. I will forever cherish every car ride, little sneaky treat, and listening to We Are the World, the only song you play on the Alexa. I'm so lucky to have you footsteps away at all times. Bubby and Papa, thank you for always putting a smile on my face. Thank you for all the memories and special times we've spent together. I always look forward to our frequent FaceTime calls and enjoy reading all of your special emails. I'm so excited that we are now in person together. A special thanks to Cantor Wendy for her patience and attentiveness that has helped me feel prepared for this day. Mentor Dina, thank you for calming my nerves and being someone I can count on to help me feel prepared. Lastly, Cantor Ettinger and Rabbi Kahn, thank you for all of your time and guidance leading up to this day. Thank you for teaching me the prayers and preparing me for this day. Thank you to all of my friends and family for being here or logging in. It means a lot to me. To me, becoming a bat mitzvah is a huge milestone. It is the official transition from a girl to a woman. It means that I will be more responsible and take responsibility. I will always remember the hard work and effort that everyone has put into this day just for me. I will remember standing on the bima and chanting the words of Torah. Even though it may have appeared pretty smooth today, throughout the journey, I struggled getting the correct tunes for certain prayers. However, I was able to overcome that challenge by devoting my time to listening deeply to Cantor's recordings and studying. And that studying is the key. I will remember to follow the Torah and never give up, because that is what this Torah portion, Tazria, has taught me. Shabbat Shalom.
So now let us stand as the Torah is returned to the ark, and we will invite up Samantha's parents, Mandy and Jim, to join us on the bima.
You the boss.
Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki nizgav Shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem kerelei hamo, Kehilah lechol chasidav, Livnei Israel am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi, lama chazikim ha, v'tomchecha meushar, derachecha, darchei noam, v'chol netivotecha shalom. Ashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva. Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
So, my dear, our relationship goes back further than you even know, because your grandpa was my kid's dentist when we first moved here in 2003, and your uncle did the orthodontist piece of the puzzle. So I've been with your family outside of the office, inside of the office, at the temple, since I was a person in Arizona many years ago. But today is not about me, it's about you. As I was sitting over thinking about what to say to you, 10 different things came to mind. And then every time you would, as Cantor pointed out, chant a blessing, or chant a pasuk, a verse of Torah, or Haftarah, or even make up this extra credit trope, if you will. I don't know if you call it you put a crown on top of the trope. More things came to mind, and I was thinking back to our first meeting. We had all this confusion because whatever, it ended up being late, which most things with me are. And then I remember you were there, and I didn't see your parents there. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Usually parents have to be with the kids because they're worried the kids are going to forget something, or they have a million questions. And it was just me and you on Zoom. And then I realized very, very quickly, your parents didn't need to be there because you are an old soul. You are way mature beyond your years. You have a sophistication to you that's just so lovely. But mostly because you are a mensch. You are a person of incredible integrity and character, and you're independent. You can work independently. You can think independently. I've done this a few years, Samantha. Never once has a kid spoken about the beginning part of your parsha. I mean, what 13-year-old would speak about the labor delivery process and thereafter? No one. They're either too shy, or they're too embarrassed, or they get too red in the face, and for boys, forget about it. You're the first kid in 26 years that spoke about that section of the parsha. I don't even speak about that section of the parsha. But you did it with that same menschlichkeit, with a bit of humility and a bit of assertiveness about what it meant for someone to be declared impure or pure, and then to sort of go beyond that and say, these days we don't think of people as pure and impure based on gender or based on who they are, but that it's mostly about what we can get from studying Torah. We call it a tree of life, right? But you have turned it into a tree that bears fruit. And as a bat mitzvah today, you get to, I hope, continue to study and teach us about Torah. You, at the end of your Dvar Torah, thanked everyone. I want to thank you. We should be thanking you because today you reminded us about why we became rabbis and cantors. You reminded your big brother about what an amazing sister he has and how lucky he is. You better feel that way. And you reminded your parents and your grandparents and all of us here and all of those who are at home how amazing it is to be Jewish. How amazing it is to hear a daughter of Israel, a daughter of the mitzvah, teach us today that the Torah has something to say about every one of us and everything. And that if we just spent a little more time studying, who knows what would happen? But it'd be amazing. The Talmud teaches, the Talmud, the big book of Jewish law, teaches that God never creates a disease without creating the cure first. In other words, there's no disease that comes from nature that doesn't already have a cure. We found that out with COVID, right? The cure was there. We just didn't know that we needed that for this. And look how quickly it got developed. I want to say that what I hope for you on this day and what I pray will come from you. And I know this may sound like a big responsibility, but I think just like our meetings, you can handle it because of your independence. I think you have a lot to say and do about what that cure is. I think you're the cure. I think people like you, with your mental height and your character and your smarts, you can be the cure to societal disease, to issues and problems that we have in the community. I really see you as someone who is the cure. Right now, focus on your group, your friends, your family. You are not responsible to heal the world. And there are other people who will join you, of course, on this journey, your parents, your siblings, your community. But I want you to know that, as you can hear, there were so many things going through my mind. I want to focus on that. Be the cure. Be the blessing. Be the mensch that you are. And everything that will come, I think, will be lovely and beautiful and will change us as a community, as a people. Again, I'm not telling you to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. And you're going to have good days, and you're going to have bad days. But be who you are, and our world will definitely be a better, safer, more healed place. It has been our real honor to be with you today. And we're so proud of you, but we're, I think, so inspired by you, which is why I went on way too long. So it's my pleasure to join with Cantor, not only on our own behalf, but on behalf of Rabbi Mason-Barkin and on behalf of your teachers and Dina and all the generations, to ask for God's blessings upon you, really from our hearts.
Yevarech Adonai ve'yishmerech.
May God bless you and protect you.
Yair Adonai panav elayich v'chunaych.
May God's countenance be lifted upon you and be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elayich ve'asem lach shalom. Shalom.
May God's face always shine upon yours and grant you peace and happiness and love.
Ve'asem lach shalom. Shalom.
Amen.
Siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov, Kehilah. Siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov, Kehilah. Israel. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, ulechol Israel. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, ulechol Israel. Yehilanu, Yehilanu, ulechol Israel. Yeah, you guys want some Kleenex? Yeah, go. You do it. Enjoy. Have some fun. Let's see where it is. There's one right over here. Let me move this.
You know, we prepared this speech, but Rabbi Kahn's words were so incredible. And what's amazing is that when you hear the speech, it's what he said. so you get to hear it, and that was not planned, but everybody here and everybody online, you can hear a different version of the same speech, which, it's great. It's because it's the truth, so go ahead.
Samantha, we know this bat mitzvah celebration isn't exactly like you pictured it, but you've shown us all how resilient and remarkably easygoing you can be. You studied your Torah, Haftarah, and prayers primarily online and independently, and what a fabulous job you've done. You did all of this with barely a complaint. A genuine congratulations are in order. You should be very proud of yourself, as are we. This is just the beginning of what we know will be a life filled with impressive accomplishments and joy. And Dad and I are so excited to watch you grow and mature.
Congratulations, Sammy D. You're a voracious reader, a great student, you're caring, super organized with your studies, and you're a pretty good TikTok dancer. And while we're so excited for you and proud of you, it's difficult for us to see our cutie, cuddly little girl with the beautiful auburn hair and infectious belly laugh grow up. According to Judaism, today marks the day that you become a woman. But according to middle school, today is the day you become a teenager. And while becoming a woman may be very exciting, the notion of becoming a teenager can be less enticing. So we'll try to impart you with some advice.
There will be days when you feel overwhelmed with relationships, overwhelmed with schoolwork, and also get scared about what your future will be like. You might feel pressure to be smart and beautiful and popular.
But your teen years can also be great. Your close friendships will become closer. You'll make even stronger friendships in high school, in college, and you'll have much more freedom to do what you enjoy, including TikTok dances. The world and all of its opportunities will unfold for you. You can pick and choose what you want to do that gives you a sense of accomplishment and gratification. But remember, you don't have to be perfect at all of them all the time. Sometimes we fail. Everyone here has failed at something, and we learn from failure and are better because of it. Conquering an endeavor that we're initially not good at is usually the most rewarding endeavor conquered.
So during those tough teen times, be assured, you can achieve anything that you want to, and you should be very, very proud of what you've already accomplished. Seek out new things, and don't be afraid to fail. Have fun, and be self-confident, and life will be as smooth as a Charli D'Amelio electric slide.
We love you.
Well, we just wanted to invite your mentor, Dina, to present you finally with your Siddur, now as a bat mitzvah. And then we'll also acknowledge your other gifts in a moment. But Dina, I know, wanted to present you with the Siddur, and then we'll take care of the other gifts.
Sammy, what can I say? Everyone's already said it. You did an amazing job today. You have a beautiful voice. You chanted. You worked so hard. And I'm so proud of you. You said you needed me, but I don't think you really did. So I just want to say it's been an honor to be your mentor. to watch you grow up into this beautiful young Jewish adult. And I wanted to present you your very own Siddur. And this is not the first day you'll use it. Hopefully you'll use this and continue your Jewish studies and journey. And I just want to wish the Daitch family, the Arthur family, Mazel Tov, and I love you. Oh, did you want me to? No, okay, you take care.
There are many things that you get in order to become a bat mitzvah. Of course, you already have your siddur now. We have a certificate for you marking the occasion, and that's something that you should keep with you. I still have my bar mitzvah certificate, actually, from 150 years ago. We have a Kiddush cup for you with the date and your name on it, and those are really cool because one day, many, many, many years from now, when we're under the chuppah, we'll be using that Kiddush cup as part of your wedding. And I only say that because the longer I'm here, the more weddings I'm doing for kids whose B'nai Mitzvah I was at, and they're using their Kiddush cup, so make sure not to lose it. But we've got a lot of years. You have many things to accomplish before. Huh? Oh. That was funny. We've got a Torah for you, rolled to today's Parsha, and again, dated, and your name is on it, so all kinds of goodies. And I'll put them away for now, and then you can grab them right after services. Sound good? All right, grab your siddur. I'll take care of putting everything else away. Mazel tov again to the family. I hope that we can do many more smachot together in the coming years, only simchas. And again, thank you for creating this wonderful person who brought so much inspiration and meaning. Before we conclude, I know Cantor's going to want to be counting the Omer for us. Oh, you don't want to do it? I did last night. Okay, I'll do it in English. All right. How's that? Today is the 20th day of the Omer. If you'd like to join me in the English on page 570 or 278, Cantor did chant it beautifully last night, but I will read it in English beautifully right now.
Oh, I can tag on to the end of it.
I knew it. All right, Cantor, take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sefirat haomer.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who housed us with commandments, commanding us to count the Omer. Today is the 20th day, which is 2 weeks and 6 days of the Omer.
Hayom eschrim yom shehem shnei shavuot v'shisha yamim laomer.
And now we're going to conclude with Aleinu and with Kaddish. Everyone, please turn in your prayer books to Aleinu, which can be found on page 586 or 282, and together, please stand.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
On this Shabbat, we share our deepest sympathies as we note the passing of the following people who were recently laid to their eternal rest, whose families observe Shiva and Shloshim, the immediate 7 and 30 days of mourning. Maddie Roth, Lorraine Greenberg. And on the Shabbat, we remember with love and affection those of our congregational family whose yard sites occurred this week. Their names are lovingly listed on our Shabbat flyer. If you would like to say out loud the name of a loved one who has died in this season or in seasons past, for whom you were observing yard site, or type in their name in the comment section, please do so at this time. Zicharneam levracha, may their memories be a blessing. L'dor v'dor, for the generations to come. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 598 or 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich machutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'li'amei amaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'la min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shalama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to those who are mourning and comfort to those who are grieving. Together we say, Amen.
Let's conclude with a prayer for peace. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
Please join us for Kiddush and Hamotzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov.